Ready to roll. So let's dive in now, gang, to the top prospects at the tight end position in this year's draft. Again, we're using our PTA big board. We're going to show you where they're projected to go before the Senior Bowl, the grade that we've got on them. And then if you guys, Jacob, if you want to do like you did earlier and just kind of tell me where the updated number is for the consensus big board, that's cool. If not, no big deal. I thought that was really, really interesting how you were updating. Emilio, there was a bunch of these guys we were on early. And all of a sudden, the consensus big board now, they've got them ranked up there where we got them ranked. It's hilarious how that works. So, all right, let's jump into it. Tight ends. I'm going to screw some of these names up, so please give me some grace here as we're trying to learn the names of all these prospects as it's early in the draft process.
You got this, Clay. I got you. You got it.
All right, so at the top of the list is Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon, all right? His grade, a 19.5. The consensus big board had him at 17. The PFF big board had him at 24. Next is Eli Stowers, or Stowers, however you say it, tight end out of Vanderbilt. 36.4 is the grade. Low number wins, guys. 81 is where the consensus big board had him. So we had him worthy of around the 35th pick, and consensus big board had him at 81. PFF had him at 50. All right. Justin Jolie, tight end out of NC State. He was at the Senior Bowl. 59.4 is his grade. Consensus big board had him at 96. PFF big board had him at 89. You got Michael Trigg, tight end out of Baylor. He was at the Senior Bowl. 59.8. Consensus big board had him at 82. Max Klare, tight end out of Ohio State. 62.1 is our grade. 78 on the consensus big board. Jack Andres, I believe it is. Tight end out of Texas, 68's the grade, 106 on the big board. Tanner Kazoil, if I'm saying that right, Kazoil, this is one of my favorite prospects. He was at the Senior Bowl. He really flashed. He didn't get the Senior Bowl bonus, but, man, it just seemed like everybody was talking about him. Big body tight end, right? 83.8 is the grade we've got on him. The consensus big board had him at 165. Could you imagine getting somebody that's a top 100 talent on your board and a big body tight end like that? This is what we're talking about. You maybe don't have to spend money in free agency. You spend a late round pick on a guy like that. But once again, your roster is going to stay the youngest roster in the league if you go that route. So that's a handful of names here. We can keep on moving along. Is Eli Raritan actually graded out a little bit better than I expected out of Notre Dame. I know I told you guys I felt like he was overrated because he was supposed to blow up at Notre Dame. 94.8. Walter Football had him in the 74 spot. The consensus big board has him at 135. I'd be okay with Eli Raritan around that mark. It's just some people were saying he might be a second or a third round talent. I can't buy into that right now. So let's start with you here, Jacob. How do you feel about these rookie tight ends? Is there anybody that grabs your attention, man?
Yeah, I mean, just off the top, like you said, Tanner, I think it's Kazoil, something like that. Consensus big board and the mock draft database has him at 156. So similar to where kind of the consensus was. I think that'd be interesting. A lot of people, it seemed like in the chat, know that guy too. Wondering what you guys' thoughts are on a guy like Marlon Klein. Where do we have him?
Klein, we've got him a little bit lower. We got him in the 142 with a 142 grade. The consensus big board had him at 176. Were you going to say something, Emilio?
No, that's all I was going to say, where we had him on the board. You're good.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, consensus on mock draft has him at 155. I just think tight end from Michigan feels like that it fits, but it's like, every now and then those guys don't come to fruition. Amelia, what do you think about Joe Royer, Cincinnati? Have you ever heard about Cincinnati tight ends, my guy?
Yeah, I actually don't mind it. Jacob, have you seen their stadium in college football, man? It's like into a building, built into the building and everything. I mean, it's got to be cool playing there anyway. But, yeah, I do like the guy. But I think Clayton might be onto something with our boy from Houston there. What's he pushing, 6'7", 250, something like that? I mean, that's
Is he 6'7", Amelia?
No, I don't do that, Jacob. I don't even know what that means.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's that's what Chris was saying in here. Yeah. So not so cool mentioned him. There's a tight end name because see now he spelled it. Do I got it spelled right or does he have it spelled right? We'll never get this name right. I think it's
Koziol.
Yeah, Kazoil maybe.
Yeah,
Kazoil. Yeah, we'll just say Kazoil. All right. Yeah. Near the 6th or 7th round would be good. Look him up. And then of course Christian said Clayton was talking about him the other day. He's like 6'7", 250 pounds. There you go. So yeah. Yeah, that's the one that, again, every year there's somebody that kind of pops and you go, man, I remember that guy. He's that dude this year for me at the tight end position for sure. So when you look at this, chat, how would we feel? how would we feel about drafting a tight end, let's say in the 5th or 6th round? Do you think that's a wasted pick? Do you think we got other larger needs? Or what if you could go get somebody like that? Would we be okay with it? And how do y'all feel about that? Like, in a perfect scenario, what draft pick would you guys like to use on a tight end based off of our needs? I'll start with you, Emilio. Like, what comes to mind for you, man?
Yeah, I mean, 5 to 7. If you find the one you like at 4, take it. But I also like, when I was doing a little bit more digging, the Riley Nowalski from Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a nice little pull if he's still hanging around in the 7th round. He's kind of one of those across the board utility guys. If he can move, if he's a move as well. He was in line for 270, slot set 87. I mean, not bad, caught a couple balls, and I wouldn't be opposed to that late.
That Nowakowski?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anytime you can get a ski in the backfield, Jacob, we're set.
Hey, that's what Packer Doug's saying. Riley's a freaking unit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then again, we were in this last year as well. Like, was Ohio State, right? So do you look at the teams that made it to that final and win that championship? Do those players, are they, worthy of a little bit of extra? Did they fight through? Those kind of things you got to take into consideration as well.
No.
Yeah. Do you think it's a weird, like, I don't know, coincidence that there you go. And several Packer Doug says Nowakowski went to Milwaukee Marquette High School with my nephews. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Do you think that we've been lacking that types ever since Mercedes Lewis left the Green Bay Packers? We have not had one of those kind of like thumper tight ends, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, I mean, Tucker Kraft is Tucker Kraft, so don't get me wrong. I'm not throwing no respect on this dude's name.
Tucker Kraft could not block like Mercedes Lewis. He can't.
Right.
And I think he blocks fine. Don't get me wrong. But Mercedes he was like a 6th offensive lineman, Jacob. You're right, man.
I was just going to ask, and then you Bates, how smart freaking Bates is. I was going to ask about Sam Rush, tight end from Stanford. He says, Sam Rush, if I'm quoting Emilio, he can block.
He can. We have him at 208 on our board, so down a little bit, but – yeah, a dog. It looks like he's gotten better each year, a little bit lower this year. PFF had him 104. Consensus had him 336.
Yeah, that's a great pull there. Yeah,
so again, has him at 175, so they have a little bit more of a higher grade than we do. Okay. So maybe that's one of those things.
Yeah, we definitely finished with a 208.3 on him. And I see what you're saying there, Emilio. So he was 234th at his position in 23. Took a pretty significant jump in 24 to 135 and then fell back to the 258. So it's like he's not as appealing to me. I don't understand how PFF can say he was the 258th best tight end, but we're going to put him 104 on our big board. Like I just don't understand it. It's like, can y'all have a meeting and get on the same damn page, please? It's wild how that always shakes out. So again, when you look at this, it comes down to how much value, how much importance do you want to place on the tight end position? You're one injury away from that becoming a non-factor, right? Like in your offensive scheme. We talked about, potentially going and getting a free agent. Like you guys have mentioned with Mercedes Lewis, as Jason Wise says, Mercedes Lewis made our offensive line's job easier. It also, I think it helped shore up the special teams on the outside a little bit too with the blocking. That was something that he was good at as well, blocking off the edge there. That's typically a tight end spot that you put a guy in. Somebody said it earlier here. I think it was Chris in the chat said, buy a veteran for $4 million average annual value. I don't hate that, right? To me, that's the equivalent to spending a late round pick on a guy. If you go get a veteran for $4 million per, again, you're probably going to minimize the rookie mistakes the mistakes that you would experience with having a rookie tight end in there. So if I had to pick either way, I think I agree with Chris here. Rather than take a late round pick, although some of these guys are studs, probably would rather have a veteran in the building. And again, what I said earlier about tight end, imagine if Goody sees an Eli Stowers or a Justin Jolie or a Michael Trigg as this is the same build, the same type of player. Not saying they are, just theoretically speaking. This is the same grade we had on Tucker Kraft. This is the same athleticism we had on Tucker Kraft. Are you really going to pass up on him in the 3rd round, knowing we feel really good that this could be Tucker Kraft 2.0? And now we've got our 12 personnel that all these teams like to really press into in 2025.
So real quick to that point, I can't quite see his full name here because I'm getting old. John Michael Gillenborg, tight end from
John Michael Montgomery.
That's what I meant. Tight end from Wyoming. You talk about a Tucker Kraft 2.0. If you get a guy from Wyoming who's playing football, he loves football. From what I'm looking at right now, people kind of have a decent grade on him. What do you guys think about him? What do you got, Emilio?
He's sitting in the 184 spot on the consensus big board. But Emilio, tell him about the Jaden Reed effect here with those grades. You seeing that? You noticing that?
Yep, absolutely. With the Jaden Reed effect, we made sure that we put in, all right, if you did better back in the previous years where you in 23 graded out a 71.6, 24, he was a 79.6. He was able to, those grades were able to benefit him in a way rather than hinder him, though that 2025 grade does have to take into account, because it's the most recent, we do have that one. We need to we need to make sure that he's all squared away, as in, all right, we're going to take that 13 and that 38, help bring that 342 down so that we can get a better number for him. Jacob, the only issue I see looking at the guy is he had a run block rate of 37.9. That's the only issue, and only about like 300-400 snaps versus some of the other guys who are pushing like 600 or 700 snaps.
Gotcha.
And when you look at that too, guys, this is why it's important. One of these don't belong, like what Emilio was saying with John Michael Gillenborg out of Wyoming. At 23, he was the 38th highest graded tight end. Yep. He jumped all the way to 13th in 24. Then last year he falls to 342. So it's
with
like, okay,
400 snaps, with the most amount of snaps he's played in those past 2 years.
Right. Yeah. So it's one of those, looks like it doesn't belong, but again, you got to take the whole body of work into consideration. And again, PFF Big Board had him at 160. The consensus Big Board had him at 184. Jacob, do you got an update on the John Michael Gillenborg consensus Big Board? Where is he at on their Big Board at this moment right now? Because again, they had him at 184. I'm sure he's moved a little bit.
They got him back at 203.
So he's actually dropped. Okay.
Yeah, he dropped on PFF as well. PFF has him at 168.
And here we've got him at 112.7. That might be one that by the time the draft gets here, we're going, hey, wouldn't mind that pick. And again, it's because he showed 2 years of decent football and then had that step back. Jason Watt with the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, I agree. Sign a veteran tight end. They take too long to develop if we rely on the draft. So true, man. How many times? Well, as soon as you draft a rookie, right, it's, well, we got to give him a year or two. We got to give him a year. Okay, I'm tired of a year or two. And again, you got to have rookies. You got to have young guys on your roster. But the Super Bowl window is open. We're entering year 2 of 3 of the Super Bowl window being wide open. Can we press in just a little bit, Goody? And he's going to meet with the media tomorrow. We'll be bringing you those updates on everything that he says, which I'm sure will be a lot of word salad. Nothing actually talked about. But we
see Goody one Wednesday every 3 months, and he just goes back into and does his thing, man. That's it. He's got it down.
And Matt LaFleur hates it because he's being forced to talk to the media all the time. And Goody's like, here's the youngest roster in the league. I'm going to go back to my office. Y'all let me know if you need something. So, Jason, appreciate the super chat, buddy. You are the man. All right. So if you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments, how do you feel about the tight end room? How do you feel about the prospects? How do you feel about the free agents that are available? What would you rather do? Are you like Jason Y? You're like Chris N, let's go get a veteran for $4 or $5 million, or would you rather take a swing in a draft and potentially hit on a late round gem? Let us know in the comments how you feel about it. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you catch all the future live streams.
He is a G.